All right, let's go ahead and start getting some formatting into your book. I'm going to use the one where it was set to the margins because that's the last one I had up. Make sure you save your file. And I always recommend, like, every 5 minutes, saving your file. Just get in the habit of that so that if something happens, at least you know you've only lost 5 minutes instead of hours worth. Let's go ahead and start by cleaning up some of the extra. This one has a 3rd edition preface to it. You can leave that if you want. That one's going to be up to you. I'm going to keep all this bit, clean it up just a little bit. I am going to keep the inscription to it as well. So just a wee bit of cleaning up just to get it started, and then we're just going to jump right into it. What we need to do is get the title page by itself, the inscription by itself, and then the chapter starting by itself. So what you want to do, and you can see I clicked right here, so Jane Eyre, an autobiography, Charlotte Bronte, that part I want together, and my cursor is right there just after it. I'm going to right click, or control click if you have those mice, and you want to insert break character page break. And what that'll do, let's go ahead and type show hidden characters, which we're going to need this up anyway, so go ahead and pull that up. When we have this, let's zoom in. Nope, let's zoom in. There we go. And it's going to have this symbol here. That is the page break character. And these are, of course, our returns. So we are looking to make sure that we have our page breaks on there. Our inscription needs to be on the same page also. So let's go ahead. I'm double clicking. There it is. And I believe it's under type, break character, page break. So you can do it there also, but it is a lot easier if you just go ahead and do the right click or control click depending on your mouse. That way you're not taking too much time going up into the menu when it's already at your fingertips. At this stage you have a couple options. I have a keyboard at home where it does not have the number pad with the delete that goes forward, so I have to use my backspace. So for this project, it would probably be easier to do the find and replace, but let's just go ahead and do the backspace one with our arrow keys so you can see it. So it's just going to take me a little bit longer than what it does at school because this keyboard is not a full keyboard. So I'm going to backspace, add a space. Go with my arrow key, backspace, add a space. And the next point of this is to get rid of all the pre-arranged, so to speak, nomenclatures at the end, because we want to have the only place where we have a return is at the end of a sentence, not in the middle of a sentence. So we have to go through and sort of clean it up. Now you can do this manually. This is actually typically how I do it because I also semi-edit for the people whenever I'm doing this stage. So it gives me a chance to sort of skim over it as I'm doing this to make sure everything's kosher. The other thing, 100%, no matter which route you take, whether you do it this way, we're going sort of paragraph by paragraph, you are going to have to add the tabs. So you're going to have to add the tabs, whether it be the find and replace method or via this individual one, because our find and replace is going to find and replace all of our paragraphs, but you're going to need to have the tabs there first. So depending on which route you take, if you're sort of doing the work as you go, you're going to be manually doing the tabs. Oops, don't do a tab there. But it's going to depend on your system. I'm just going to finish up this paragraph, and then I'm going to switch processes so that you can see. It is a lot easier on your keyboards at school. The forward delete makes this process tons faster. Not thrilled with this design from Apple. Okay, so we got the first 3 paragraphs done, and this is one of those things. The first couple times you do this first couple pages, it is going to feel really slow, as like all things in life. Once you get that pattern and that flow, it's going to go a lot faster, but you have to get the sort of muscle memory first. So you have to sort of build up to that. So step 1 or version 1, do your tabs and your returns, you know, sort of all at the same time. Version 2, we're going to be taking one of these paragraph returns and deleting all of them. But before we do that, we have to have all of our tabs in. So if you're doing option 2, which is what I'll show next, and as ever, you know, with both of the, or any of these videos that I do, make sure, you know, you look through them once and then find the route you want and then look back and then pause where you need to so you can sort of work along with it. So version 2, we need to get all of our tabs in there. So there's no other way to do it but then just sit down and plug and chug. So I'm just going to go to the start of each paragraph, put that tab in. Do not worry about styling the tabs yet. You could tab that if you want, or you could leave the spaces. That one's going to be a stylistic tweak. If you do something like Lewis Carroll has a lot of paragraph edits in his, so just be forewarned if you're doing his that you're going to have a lot of tweaks with that. Go through, and I'm just going to get like 2 pages done so that you can see what happens. So you just go through all of them. The nice thing I will say about that autoflow system is that it puts all the pages on there. So on style, there's 621 pages. Now, obviously, this is at a 12-point typeface, which is not something we would want for an adult reader. So it's going to be a lot less than that. Go ahead, find all of, and remember, if it's a quote, the quote gets a tab also, and just go through and get all those tabs in, and so on and so forth. I am going to zoom in, because we have our invisibles, get the mouse, and I'm going to just copy and get ready to paste one of these paragraph returns. So with the find and replace system, it's a little bit different because it's going to search through the entire document for all of these symbols and then replace it with whatever we want it to be. And in our case, it's going to be a space so that we can see it that way. So the tabs are actually going to help us find the paragraphs because there's going to be a little bit of stylistic tweaks after that. So I have this on my copy. I'm going to select all. We're going to go into edit. And then we're going to go into find change. And sometimes they call it find and replace depending on the program. So as long as you can have like a find a change or a find and replace, it's the same process. So I'm going to find what, and I'm going to paste. That's our symbol for the returns, and I'm going to change it to, I get my mouse in there and active, and I'm just going to hit the space bar 1 time. And then I click on change all, and it should take a little bit of time because it has to find all of those, and there are a lot in these documents. All right, it replaced almost 21,000 of these. I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to hit done. And give your computer a second to not explode. Go up, and then this is why it's good to have the invisibles in. There is our tab. So then we just look for that tab. It looks like a double caret symbol. Go forth, find all of your tabs, hit return. So there is still a little bit of work entailed with this, but I guess it does make it slightly easier because it has negated some of the up and down arrow in deleting. So it's just going to honestly, at the end of the day, depend on which work style you find more comfortable and intuitive for you. And undoubtedly the only way that you're going to be able to do this is to just experiment.